All right, we're a go. We're on record.
Okay. My name's Kyle. I did an internship at Madeira, USA. I just have to say I'm so excited to talk to you guys today because the reason I got interested in doing an internship is because I was sitting in one of Terry's classes and I saw one of these presentations and it really got me interested. So Madeira, it's an embroidery supply company. It's wholesalers, so it's business to business type stuff. Every once in a while, like smaller type people will come in and buy stuff that's pretty rare. Usually just selling to other businesses and whatnot. The industry is called the Ad Specialty Institute, which is basically the industry of people that are putting an image of something on an object. In this case, putting embroidery on clothing. It's a pretty small company, and it seems larger than it actually is because there's locations all over the US. But 25 of the people that work for the company are located in New Hampshire, then all over the rest of the country there's other smaller warehouses, some of which are even run by like 1 or 2 people, so it's 50 people. It's quite a small company. When I first showed up, when I heard that the corporate headquarters were in Laconia, I thought, oh, that would be like, you know, a pretty big building if it's their corporate headquarters. But I showed up and I was like, what? This is it? It's such a small little place. It's right on Okeechee Bay. It's like such a quiet, peaceful area. I thought, oh, you know, corporate headquarters are always in like really busy areas. But it's like, wow, it's just really quiet and beautiful around here. It's not what I was expecting at all. So how did PSU prepare me? Well, a lot of the classes I took here were so useful. I can't tell you how useful, like anything I ever took marketing related or writing was really helpful for this because I was working with their marketing department when I was there. Anything technology related as well, Microsoft Excel, that was huge there. Used it every day. So when I was there, me and my site supervisor, we came up with some learning objectives, and I didn't put them all, but I put the most important ones up here that I used. I learned how to partner with a business. I never thought that would happen, but going into it, but I actually helped them partner with another company. That's where that objective came in. It was crazy. I never would have expected it. I also learned about trade magazines and whatnot, how they benefit companies. I'll get to that later. So when I was there was just typical type responsibilities. I was working with the marketing department. There's typical duties like checking your email every day, keeping up with that. It's a big thing in an office, really important, going to meetings. I got trained on how to use their database, which is really interesting. So it was like one of the old style ones. You have to like type in the keyboard commands, and it was kind of confusing at first. Once I got trained on it, it was pretty easy to use, and it was pretty interesting. So this was my big, huge thing when I was there, is the Ryanet project. This was what I spent like the majority of my time on. So Madeira, as I mentioned, part of the Ad Specialty Institute, they do embroidery, and then there's a company called Ryanet, and they do screen printing, which I can see a ton of you right now that are wearing shirts that are screen printed.
And stitched.
Yeah.
Pretty much any of you that are wearing a New Era cap or any other kind of a cap with stitching or shirts with stitching on it, it's probably Madeira thread. They pretty much 100% control the global market. And you're talking about the number of people in their American corporate, but aren't they are they a Dutch company?
German.
They're a German company. So Kyle was just at the American component of it. They are the largest embroidery thread supplier globally, I think, in the world, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Max, you got a question?
Yeah, how do you make it work with like 50 people?
That's a good question.
That's an interesting question. I mean,
I just saw like all your locations. You said you have 25 in New Hampshire. How else is the space out for that one?
well, a lot of, like on that map I showed before, like a lot of these locations are just warehouses that are run by like 1 or 2 people that do most of the stuff. And like all the corporate type stuff, all the office work and whatnot goes on in New Hampshire. That's why we have 25 people here. Like Florida, California, and Pennsylvania, those were like the other three like important ones that I always heard people talking about and whatnot. You can see Florida and California have 2 locations. Like one of the locations is like a smaller one with a little warehouse, like one person running it. But a lot of those locations really don't have many people, so.
I mean, it's basically a supply chain puzzle that they've tried to solve. They just know that if a stitching company, like a local apparel company that's making lacrosse shirts for PSU or for, you know, for the University of Santa Cruz, they don't want to have to ship stuff from New Hampshire to get thread to Santa Cruz. So a lot of these locations are just small distribution warehouses, but the New Hampshire location is the central business office that then makes sure that enough of all the color supplies, the right profile of thread are out in those distribution warehouses. And the distribution warehouses are how things get out to the local providers, right? If you need shirts made next week for an event, you don't want to find out you got to wait a week for the stuff to get shipped. You want to get it to you quick. So that's how it works structurally.
Yeah. So at the time when I was there, like I was saying, there's a company that provides screen printing supplies, and they approached us and they asked us if we'd be a preferred supplier on their website. And we thought, well, that's kind of interesting because we're doing embroidery. Even though screen printing and embroidery, it's both putting an image on clothing, it's still a little bit different. So we thought, is it actually worth it to partner with them? We weren't really sure. And there was a point in time where we were thinking it really wasn't going to be worth it. But I helped them create a survey so that we can send it out to some of their customers and see if those people that do screen printing also do embroidery, see if they would, you know, be buying our thread from their website as a preferred supplier, and see if we could actually make money that way. We got about a 10% response rate, which is absolutely amazing for email marketing. So you're lucky if you can even get 2% if you send out an email and with a survey. So that was huge. We couldn't believe the response rate. It was awesome. As it turns out, we found out the majority of the people that answered the survey actually also do embroidery as well. So we thought that was absolutely amazing. Also, of the people that were part of the Ryanet company that buy from them that also do embroidery, they also, a majority of them bought our thread, which was another huge thing that we took into consideration that was really important. And also, interestingly enough, 50% of the people that answered this question, the people that don't do embroidery right now that are interested in doing it, 50% of them are interested in trying it. So that was another huge thing. So we decided to partner with them based on those questions that they answered and the good feedback we got back from them. It was actually worth it. So the next step I have to do was I had to put together 150 of these welcome packets. I'm going to be distributed all over the U.S. And it took a while, and my hands hurt afterwards. But I had free samples like needles and bobbins and a welcome letter and stuff like that in there. They got sent out to like Pennsylvania and Florida and California, all the big distribution places. So the second part of my internship after that was all over with, after we finished the whole Ryanet project. I wrote these articles for an industry magazine called Printwear, and the articles are called Tips and Tricks, which are basically like short little articles that have relevant advice for people that do embroidery, how they can do it more efficiently. I was completely blown away. I have to say, last night, for this presentation, I was just going to take a little screenshot of like the Printwear logo and use it in my presentation. But I go on there and I saw on the front page of the website that they published one of the articles I wrote after they sent it in, so I was just completely blown away. I was not expecting that at all.
That's nice.
That's wild.
I submitted 7 of them, and they published my one on thread tension. So.
Did you know anything about thread tension before your internship, Kyle?
I knew nothing
Yes.
about it whatsoever.
Not on everybody's list on their resume, thread tension as an expertise. Right?
And the reason I knew how to write this is I just did research and stuff on our website. We have a bunch of resources that talk about how to do this stuff better. So I just took a bunch of information together and I used it to write these little articles. And I sound like an industry expert just from, you know, the research I did. But I literally knew nothing when I went into this.
Well, it's a great portfolio. Ryan's been able to pull things out now into a portfolio to support his job search that's really remarkable from this internship. The fact that he's got published in a national publication now as a writer already before he's even graduated is huge. Yep.
So I would really, really highly suggest, like, if you're not a senior right now, I really, really suggest doing an internship. Seriously. It was such an awesome opportunity. When I first went into it, I didn't think I was going to be published in a magazine that people all over the place are reading. I didn't think I was going to help them partner with another company and actually be successful. I never knew this stuff going into it, and it was just an awesome experience. And every single internship is different, so you guys will, if you do an internship, you'll figure out what you're interested in, because I found out stuff that it turns out I was talented in and I never even thought of before. And every internship is different. You never know what you're going to get into going into it, and it's really, really exciting. It's such an awesome opportunity. I really highly suggest it.
You can clap for him. I'll talk about Kyle. We'll take a question in a minute. I'll talk about Kyle for a minute, like he's not in the room for a minute. I think one of the biggest things, Kyle, that I am so impressed with you with this interview is last time when Kyle took professional employment with me, he really had a hard time seeing and understanding how any of his skills and what he perceived as a lack of experience, because what's your day job now, Kyle? Tell everybody what you do. It's kind of a cool job.
Well, when I'm back at home during the summer, I work at the New Hampshire Liquor and Wine Outlet. You guys probably see it when you drive up here on 93 North, you know, a big new rest stop. That's what I do during the summer.
Right. So Kyle knows everything about bourbon. So Kyle really felt like, how can anybody who's just worked as a clerk and a restocker at a liquor store ever have skills that are transferable into a company? And that's a script that I hear a lot of my students say. And I think that this internship, as I've watched Kyle and talked to you throughout the semester, I think this internship has really 100% helped you see how incredibly employable you are and how valuable your skills are to a corporate environment, even though, quote unquote, and I don't think it's just, you've just been a clerk at a liquor store. Do you know what do you agree?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's transformational when you do this kind of stuff, especially if you doubt yourself a little bit, if you're worried about your summer jobs haven't translated to other stuff, an internship can 100% turn you around on that. All right. Sorry.
So how much money did that partnership bring to Madeira?
I don't know yet because it's still really, really recent. Like, this all happened last month, so it's too early to tell.
Did you was it a paid internship? Or?
No. It wasn't paid, but it was worth it. I mean, like Terry mentioned, I went from helping people find the Zenka to, like, you know. Yeah.
All right, listen up, gang.
Kyle, what type of time commitment was this internship for?
I did it 6 hours a week, 2 days a week. Or sorry, 12 hours a week. So yeah. I did it twice a week, so 6 hours each day. Yep.
Yep. And it was the equivalent of 3 credits. So basically, Kyle was able. You took 4 classes last semester, right?
Right.
And his 5th class was his internship. So he does it in load. It doesn't cost him any extra money, obviously, other than his gas to get there. And they've been nice about writing you recommendation, have helped you with support with your job search stuff. Am I correct on that?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Other questions? I've had other advisees, other students do internships at Madeira. I had one of my finance students about 4 years ago do an internship at Madeira where they had that student go in and build out macro-driven spreadsheets that helped them monitor and track all of their inventory across the entire United States. Student was blown away by how much he learned. So I think and they consistently are always willing to take at least 1 or 2 PSU interns every semester. And when you do an internship like this, you didn't know about them beforehand, right? The Bagley Center found the internship for you?
Yep.
Yeah. So you don't have to know where you want to work. You just have to have an idea of what you want to learn, and then Bagley matches you with an environment that can help you build those skills and competencies in exchange for a book class.
Right. I had to tell them what my interests were. Then they kind of found this company. It was a surprise, honestly. I didn't know about it going into it. They're like, oh, we think this is going to be a good fit for you, so that's what you're going to do. It's like, oh, cool.
Yep. Yeah. Any other questions for Kyle? No? All right, we got it all on video. Thanks, Kyle.